And thank you. And if our next sponsor that we would like to recognize is our sponsor with Hargray. Kim Epley is representing Hargray Communications today. And Kim, great to see you. Welcome, and thank you for Hargray's support.
Thank you so much.
And I can tell you, Kim's our go-to at Hargray, and she just does a great job and is her great concern about customer service. And anytime there's a need, the call is to Kim, and the great thing is it's always taken care of quickly. So Kim, we appreciate you and Hargray's support this year again, and we look forward to continued partnership many years ahead.
Thank you.
Let's also recognize and thank our event sponsors and Barrett Holmes of Crowder Golf. Barrett, I know you're with us this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. It's so good to see you. And if you all think back, Crowder Golf is somebody that the region has had an organization that the region has had a partnership with for so many years. And it's one of those that you hope you don't see them in your neighborhood, but if you do, you know that you're better off because they're there. So Barrett, thank you. And again, we appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you back on Hilton Head Island in Bluffton at some of our events soon.
Well, thanks, Bill. And we're already planning for the 2021 hurricane season. But like I said, hopefully we will not be seen on the island in that capacity, but just there for training only.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Barrett. And then also we have Steve Stauffer with McGriff Insurance Services. We know Steve is on the line, but not on camera. And then lastly today, I'd like to recognize Todd McElveen with Thompson Turner Construction. Todd and his company do a lot of construction work. We know work with the schools. And Todd, welcome and thank you for your support this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And if we were all together right now, we'd be giving a rousing standing ovation to our sponsors. So why don't we give a great big virtual round of applause to all of our sponsors for joining with us today. Thank you very much. You know, each year, State of the Region gives us the opportunity to hear directly from our elected officials about their community success stories and also about their challenges. So we polled our business community because we wanted to hear from you as well and to see what your top questions are for our elected officials today. And hearing what your top 3 concerns are, we're going to be asking those to each of our elected officials. You know, as we move forward, knowing that 2020 was a year unlike any other, and that holds especially true for our keynote speaker today, and that's United States Senator Lindsey Graham. Washington, D.C. is an interesting place to be in during the past year or so on so many fronts, and South Carolina's senior senator has had a front row seat for all of it. Senator Graham was elected to the United States Senate to represent the great state of South Carolina in 2002. And before that, he served in the House of Representatives. Senator Graham also served his country for 33 years in the Air Force in both active duty and the reserves, and retiring is the rank of colonel. But what you might not know about our senator is that he was the first in his family to attend college and receive both his undergraduate degree and his law degree from the University of South Carolina. Senator Graham, thank you for joining us today. It's always better seeing you in South Carolina, seeing you in person, but we're delighted to have you with us this morning. Welcome to the State of the Region.
Well, thank you. If I had to pick between Hilton Head and Washington, guess what I would pick? Y'all live in a piece of heaven, and let's keep it that way. So thanks, Bill. Thanks for what you do with the chamber and all the sponsors. This is great. I know times have been tough for the last year and a little over a year. We've gone through hell as a state, but there are better days ahead. A little bit about what's going on up here. We got a new administration. Some of this stuff is pretty radical. HR 1 would be a federalization of the election process, doing away with voter ID, expanding the Supreme Court to 13 would destroy the independence of the judiciary. The Green New Deal is not a good deal for the environment because it breaks the bank and destroys the economy, does very little about the Indians and the Chinese who emit a lot of carbon. So I spend most of my time saying no to bad ideas, and I'm trying to find a way to get to yes on some things. So the number one question people have in our mind, is there any way we can get anything done up here? The answer is maybe on infrastructure. The Republicans came out with a $568 billion bill over 5 years, $299 for roads and bridges, $35 billion for water, drinking water, wastewater, $44 billion for the airport. That'll help the airport people there in Hilton Head, and $65 billion for broadband. Biden's at about $2 trillion. Most of it's unrelated to infrastructure as we know it. But I think there's a deal to be done, sitting down with a guy like Joe Manchin and some Democrats to see if we can get somewhere between 568 and 700 or 800 billion. How do you pay for it? Democrats want to raise the corporate rate to 28%. I think that's bad for the economy. They want to double capital gains taxes and really just a massive tax increase to pay for all this. What I'd like to do is, some user fees. If people are going to be on the roads, we got to look at redoing the highway gas of the highway trust fund. There's no money coming into the trust fund from electric cars, and there are going to be more electric cars on the road in the future. So it's a time to look at restoring the highway trust fund, maybe an increase in the national gas tax with a rebate to lower income folks. So if you told me a breakthrough item, it would be infrastructure. Maybe something on a lower carbon economy. One of the things mentioned was hurricanes. The weather patterns are getting pretty violent. I believe that climate change is real, but if you don't do something globally where Russia and China and India are involved, you're not doing much good, U.S. alone. I don't want to put people out of business trying to deal with environmental needs, but we do need to be thinking about our lower carbon economy over time. Most of the car companies are now setting a goal of producing electric cars only by about 2035, 2040 at the latest. So the way we drive cars and the transportation sector is going to fundamentally change. We got to give the oil and gas companies a chance to transition. Natural gas can be used for heating. It has lower emissions. There's some application of coal to maybe making carbon fibers out of coal to actually go into car batteries. Carbon sequestration, where you capture the carbon coming from coal, would make coal a cleaner fuel. Nuclear power is essential. So count me in for sort of an all of the above approach for energy. Incentivizing electric vehicles, they're coming. We might as well go ahead and put the infrastructure in place sooner rather than later so we can dominate what I think will be an exciting change in our economy as we go to a lower carbon economy. The way we build our offices or our homes, the appliances we use can be all more energy friendly and lower cost. So I'm going to talk with some Democrats about that. I'm going to sit down with Joe Manchin and a few Democrats to see if we can hammer out an infrastructure bill somewhere around $700, maybe $800 billion. I would be willing to do something for the electrification of vehicles. I'm not going to have a massive tax increase because the economy is still fairly fragile, but the corporate tax rates are 21. Joe's talking about moving it up to 25 over a few years. Something to think about if it will get to a bipartisan result. Bipartisan means you got to give something you don't like, and the other side has to do likewise. So somewhat optimistic that we can do an infrastructure package. Gun control, people ask about that, and I don't know what the executive order, how it's going to stand up in court. Here's the space, I think, for bipartisanship. There are a lot of people who've been adjudged a danger to themselves and others at state court level, and that adjudication's not in the background system. Dylan Roof, they look to the wrong county about his legal problems that would have prevented him from buying a gun. So let's modernize the background check system so we're capturing good data and we can make informed decisions. Most of these shootings have a mental health component to it. So red flag laws where the police have an ability with due process to restrict gun ownership to people who are going through very difficult times. A lot of states have these laws, and I'd like to incentivize the expansion of them with due process for the gun owner. AR-15 ban, that's not going to work. The crooks are not going to give up their guns, and I own an AR-15, and I'll be a responsible gun owner. But there might be some things on guns that we can do. I'm going to meet with 2 Democrats this afternoon about that. The biggest thing I hear going through the state bill is workers. The $300 federal benefit goes through September the 6th. So when you add that to the state benefits, you're making over $600 a week not to work. And that puts a lot of pressure on the workforce. A lot of people are just not going back to work because of the unemployment benefits, but that phases out September the 6th. The H-2B program, if you can't find workers in the local community for tourism and resorts, that cap, we use it all up pretty quickly. Good news, we've raised the cap by 22,000. That will allow more workers to come in through the H-2B program. The most we can go to is 66,000. 22,000 is a pretty darn good start, but we need more visa workers. We're trying to hire the American worker, but you just can't find the workforce you need in certain areas of the economy. On immigration, the DACA program, the DREAM Act, I'd be willing to do something about that, but you got to stop the run on the border. So that's sort of my overview. On the military side, the Biden budget increases military spending by 1.4%, increases non-defense spending by almost 17%. China and Russia and all the bad guys out there, the Iranians, now's not the time to go backward on defense. And I know what the Marine Corps Air Station and all the military facilities mean to the county and to the community. And I want to have more planes, not less. I want to deter war so we don't have to fight it. And if you get in a war, I want to win it. So I'm going to be pushing back hard regarding a reduction in military spending to keep the F-35s coming. So with that, I'll take some questions. You live in my view, heaven, and let's keep it that way. Thank you for all the support you've given me over these years.
Update, and it's always good to hear your updates. We have some questions for you from our surveys that we had done previously. You talked a little bit about bipartisanship, and talk a little bit more and double down on that, if you would, about what you think it's going to take and how we can go about trying to unite our country.
Well, you know, President Biden's been a friend for a long time, but I don't see much uniting coming out of this administration. Reconciliation. We passed a $1.9 trillion COVID package. Most of the money had nothing to do with COVID. We forgave loans in the agricultural community, unlimited, no means test, based on the color of your skin. So if you were a disadvantaged farmer, you got all your loans forgiven. What's that got to do with COVID? So that was sort of a mini reparations program. HR 1 would federalize elections. It would do away with the state's ability to draw the lines. We're going to pick up 4 or 5 Republican seats based on the census data, because the growth in the country is in the South and the Midwest, and where a lot of Republicans are in charge. So HR 1 wants to take that power away and give it to an independent commission, and they want to do away with voter ID laws. So the agenda that coming out of the administration has been far more liberal than I thought it would be. Having said that, there have been 2 meetings where Republicans with President Biden about infrastructure. I think it would help the Democrats and Republicans to show that we can actually get something done. So somewhere around $700 billion in infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, broadband for rural and underserved areas. I think there's a better than good chance we can get that done. And if we don't, it would be very disappointing. There's a lot of bipartisanship about increasing the H-2B program. And when we may find some bipartisanship around redesigning the Highway Trust Fund, it is running out of money. We go further on a gallon of gas. We haven't adjusted the gasoline tax at the federal level in over 30 years. And there's no revenue source for electric vehicles. So sort of excited about redesigning it in a way that would meet reality. So that's sort of the places I think we may find some bipartisanship.
Senator, thank you for your answer on that. And you touched on infrastructure and the needs are certainly there. Talk a little bit about the funding of that, how you would see the funding for the proposed infrastructure improvements.
Well, that's where it all begins to get dicey, because Republicans want to take unused COVID money and let states apply it to infrastructure. We've gotten another billion and something dollars, over $1 billion, and we can't spend all this money on COVID. I mean, it was a $1.9 trillion package. We just passed a $1.9 trillion package, a few months ago. Over $1 trillion of the money we appropriated in 2020 hasn't been spent. We had 6 COVID bills that passed with 90+ votes. So there was bipartisanship. But this last COVID bill of $1.9 trillion was along party lines, and they used the reconciliation process, which is a tool that you don't need any votes from the other party. So how do you pay for this? They want to raise taxes, corporate rates to 28%, which will drive people offshore again. They want to double the capital gains rates, just a massive increase in taxes across the board to pay for their infrastructure bill. What I'm willing to do is compromise. I'm willing to look at floating the corporate tax rate up to where it was in 2017 over time, around 25%, maybe a little bit below. That will keep us internationally competitive, generate some revenue to pay for the infrastructure, but take some of the COVID money that can't really be spent on COVID and apply it to the infrastructure pay-fors. I-73 is a big deal from Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand area to hook up to 95. We got, y'all need bridges and roads, 17, you name it. There's a lot of need in this state. We're going back to earmarking. I will be one of the handful of Republicans that will congressionally direct money. Congress got out of the business of directing money. There was some abuse in the system, but I don't like the idea of the federal executive branch spending every dollar that the taxpayer sends. So I will be looking at some infrastructure projects in your backyard to get some money flowing. And so that's sort of where we're at on the pay-fors. That's going to be the rub. How do you pay for whatever number you pick? We're not going to have a massive tax increase system-wide. I may be willing to do something on the corporate tax, but they got to meet me in the middle and take some of this COVID money and apply it to infrastructure. That's sort of what I'm proposing, and we'll see if we can get there.
Senator, workforce availability is a hot topic, not only here on Hilton Head Island, Bluffton, the region, and South Carolina. It's all across the country.
Oh, God, yeah.
You talked a little bit there about H-2B visas, and there's just a dramatic need from our standpoint, and our organization has certainly lobbied heavily on behalf of that. Can you tell us what you might see and as far as numbers might being able to open up from the caps regarding the H-2B?
Okay, H-2B is a godsend for the tourism economy and the service industry. You have to try to find an American worker first. You just can't go hire a foreign worker. But you can advertise the, cows come home, and you're not going to find people to work in the meatpacking industry. A lot of service jobs are being unfilled now. The unemployment benefits is competition for the service employee. So this H-2B program is more needed now than ever. Under the law, you can add 66,000 visas on top of the cap. We've gotten a bipartisan group. The Secretary of DHS has released 22,000. We're going to keep fighting. We're doing the PGA and Kiowa, and they need every worker they can get. The real solution is to reform our broken immigration system. We need more workers. We need to secure our border. We need to create order out of chaos. The reason so many people are coming to the border is that they've gone back to catch and release. Biden has. If you claim asylum, ask for asylum inside the United States, you get released in the country. Your court date's 4 or 5 years down the road and nobody shows up. Trump stopped that. He required people to apply for asylum in their home country or remain in Mexico until their court date, and people stopped coming because they're not going to pay a coyote or a smuggler $20,000 to wait in Mexico for 4 or 5 years. If they don't go back to that remain in Mexico policy, then we will lose complete control of the border, And that's the biggest impediment to some kind of medium-sized immigration reform bill that would help you with H-2As, H-2Bs, create a guest worker program that we don't have today, and do something for H-1Bs on the high-tech end.
All right, Senator. A couple other things for you before we let you go. The first one being, I know that you loved golf, you enjoy golf. You've been a great supporter of the RBC Heritage presented by Boeing. You mentioned the PGA event that's going to be in Kiowa, and then we're also pleased and proud to be welcoming the Palmetto Championship to Congaree in June. Talk to us about golf and your support of golf, and also your support of the RBC Heritage and other golf events in South Carolina.
Well, I like it when Stewart won, because that's a blow for the old guys. He's young in my world, but that was a heck of a tournament. I don't think I've ever seen it look more beautiful. I mean, I don't know what it's worth to the state and the community to have 4 days of television showcasing where you live in Harbortown. It makes me proud as a South Carolinian. We almost lost the tournament. All hands on deck. Steve, the whole group over there. The tournament just glowed. And now we're going to get to showcase Congaree, maybe one of the best 2 or 3 new courses in the entire world. The PGA is going to be next month in Kiowa. The golf economy in South Carolina is real, all over the state. I don't know how many jobs are connected to the golf industry, but just thousands upon thousands. I'm playing golf this weekend with President Trump. He'll beat me yet again, but we're doing a golf tournament to raise money for the Republican Party. So the Harbortown Hilton Head experience by CBS is just the best advertising for the state. We're going to have Kiowa showcased, and we're going to see that one of the best new courses in the world. And what do you need? You need the infrastructure. You need the land that you can develop. You need the irrigation systems, and you need workers. And at the end of the day, the golf footprint in South Carolina seems to have unlimited growth potential.
You're also a college football fan, and I know you're optimistic about seeing the stands full again this coming season for college football.
Yeah, I think we're going to have full stadiums. 70% of the state, according to MUSC, has either been vaccinated or has had COVID. We're getting close to herd immunity. Use good common sense. If you haven't been vaccinated, get it. I got vaccinated in February just to show, hey, this stuff is safe. The sooner we get vaccinated, the quicker we'll get back to normal life. I'm hoping the fall is when things begin to level out. We're inside the 20 with COVID. Let's just keep pushing. Use good common sense, get our schools open. And I was in Florida a couple of weeks ago. They're full. South Carolina is wide open. And it's been devastating. These PPP programs, I hope some of you were able to borrow money when you had to shut down. It's been the most incredible experience in my political life, is to see America have to come to a standstill after having a roaring economy because of some bug coming from China. And the Chinese need to pay. And we need to push back. This is a dangerous world. And so anyway, we've lost a lot of loved ones. It's wrecked our economy, but we're coming back, and better days ahead, Bill. And I'll see y'all in person, and I will bring my sticks, and we'll go play.
Senator, I'm looking forward to that, and we look forward to seeing you back here again soon. Thank you so much for what you do. We appreciate you for your support, and thanks for being with us as our keynote for today's State of the Region.
Thank you. And to all the mayors and the county folks, you're the heart and soul of the political community down there. I want to be your partner. Take care.
Thank you. That was Senator Lindsey Graham. We're going to transition now from talking about things at the federal level to moving down to the local level. And we're going to hear some of the successes and challenges that our local elected officials are seeing. And to kick things off for us today, we're going to hear from Hilton Head Island Mayor John McCann.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Celebration Park. I'm John McCann, the mayor of Hilton Head Island, and we're thrilled to have you here. I pray and hope that next year we'll all be in person, but we're glad to have you here. This park was many, many years in the making. It went through Mayor Peoples, Mayor Laughlin, Mayor Bennett, and myself. It's over 10 acres. It's one of the most beautiful things we have here. A wonderful playground for children, a children's sandbox here, plenty of ground for meeting and having picnics and everything. It's our great celebration. If you notice, the area around here has got spruced up too, and has become very, very successful just being associated with the park. I have 4 things I wanted to do my last 2 years as being mayor. One is to work on 278 corridor. It's very important for a couple of reasons. One is people live there. That's the most important reason. And second, we need a larger corridor to bring people from the mainland to here. But it is a high priority. We're working very closely with them, and it's going to be a while, but the right thing will be done before we're finished. We have another beautiful tract of land in Mid-Island. Call it Mid-Island Park or North Island Park or whatever you want to call it today. It's 100 and some odd acres. It was originally dirt. We converted it into a golf course many years ago, and now what we're doing is giving the park back to the dirt. We're going to make the park mostly a passive park where people can wander through the park, sit, play frisbee. There'll be some activities there, but it will be generally a passive park with all the Audubon societies and all the other societies on the island helping with the design of it. We've hired a world-class design to help us with the park, but it's our Midtown Park. It's going to be the best around. 105 acres is a big playground. One of the reasons for that is the 3 areas around there, Northridge Plaza, Sea Turtle Marketplace, and Port Royal Plantation, have fallen into a lot of decay. A lot of the major stores have left. This park will not only benefit the residents that are here and our guests, it will benefit the environment for commercial space where people would see it and say, God, I'd love to put a business around here. So that's number 2 and 3. Our first one along the way was to find a new town manager. Steve Riley is truly missed, but he's done an awful lot for this town. And it's time now for us to move on. We hired Mark Orlando from Bluffton, an experienced administrator, worked for the town one time as an intern. He's here now. He'll do a great job for us. But it's time for us to move on to the next generation along the way. You'll see more parks. You'll see more things that get people involved in what we're doing. I strongly believe when we come out of this pandemic, we will be a different town. Things will have changed, whether it's residencies, second homes, first homes, businesses. It will not be the same as when we went in. I mean, it's been so much suffering by the people on this island, people being kept in their houses for days, weeks, months, years. There's so much suffering by our businesses who have played an amazing part in keeping social distancing and people wearing masks. People are just tired. But it's time for us to keep the masks in place until we get more vaccinations here. But people are tired, and we're going to come out of this, but I'm not too sure how we're going to come out of it. Now, I'd like to read you something so I don't forget, because it's one of the most important things today. Besides for Steve leaving, Scott Liggett was with the town over 30 years. Scott Liggett was our former director of public projects and a facility manager for the town of Hilton Head for over 30 years. His sudden passing was a shock to all of us, but he left us an incredible impression on our community. Scott's accomplishments, so much from helping to build the acclaimed park and miles of pathways to improving the roads and drainage. He will forever be remembered for leading the beach renourishment program. So when you walk or ride around the pathways or visit the beaches, please remember a great man who was always unassuming and a humble public service. God bless you, Scott Lovett. Scott was here a long time. I always believed that Scott believed the beaches were his. When we hit a couple hurricanes, we were all together. When the first light came up, Scott ran to see. I thought he went to see his house at one time. He went to see the beach. So he was truly in love with the product that he did for us along the way. Now, I just want to make sure that I don't forget. Harry Williams, who you interviewed the other day, when the pandemic first started, people were short of masks. Harry managed to get us over 10,000 masks, which we gave out to the churches and schools here. Harry's been a good friend. Elisa Sulka, who you also interviewed already, the three of us work very well together, and I'm thrilled to be with them. The town staff, it's the best. It will be better with Mark. We've done a lot of good things. We'll do some more. But this is a great, great place to live, great place to visit. And God bless everybody.
Thank you, Mayor McCann. It's great to see your video. We appreciate you being with us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. And thank you to the Chamber for putting this all together in such a difficult times we live in.
We talked a little bit about earlier with Senator Graham about the workforce availability issue, and you know better than anybody here locally of what a challenge it is. We know it's not just a challenge locally. We know it's also a challenge regionally and nationally as well. And the first question that we wanted to ask you this morning that our respondents to the survey said, just wondering what the town can do to help with the workforce availability challenge.
Well, first of all, Bill, I believe that we have to work together with the regions, with Lisa Sulka, with Harry. This is not Hilton Head by itself, but it's a regional problem, and we are working together very well. The workforce issue here is difficult. This is a national issue, but we're a different community. I mean, when you live in paradise, there's a lot more demands on you than otherwise. I mean, the workforce here, we have to pay them more. We need benefits for them. We need better education for them. We need transportation. We need a housing concept for them so that we can buy into the Habitat for Humanity formula where people not only work here, they have to buy a piece of paradise, own a piece of paradise. I think that's very important along here. Now, the businesses here have been struggling. Some have left. We've added new ones on. I think we're making progress. But I said before that it'll be a different world when we come out of this. And I think it's going to be different. I think the model is going to be different. I think the restaurant chains will be different. And some of the restaurants I go to every day, they have less people at lunchtime and they're crowded at night. I mean, there's a message out there somewhere. And these are good restaurants. These are just not the run-of-the-mill restaurants. These are better restaurants there. I think working together, we can find a problem with workforce availability. But it will take time and an open mind. This is going to be different, Bill.
Thank you for that answer. And right along with workforce availability, you know what that leads to, and that's workforce housing. That's another topic that the group would like to hear from you on. And the town has had many discussions and working on things, and just appreciate you updating our viewers today on your thoughts on workforce housing.
Yeah, well, first of all, for the last couple of months, we've been working every other week with the workshop on workforce housing. It's a big issue. It's a difficult issue because, what do we really need? What's business going to look like? And I believe there should be a better partnership between the businesses that are here and the town. I don't think the town should have a lead on this as to what we really need. You look at places like Seapines that are taking care of their own. Places like JR, which is taking care of some of his own. There should be an involvement here from the businesses. I also think they have a problem with the money because this should not come out of general funds. There's not enough money to come out of general funds to build housing. So we should look to the state for help there with our congressmen and senators. We can do a lot more together than we can do separately. I'm confident we'll do something.
Mayor, the H-2B visa and J-1 visa programs are so important to the region as well as the nation, and without having the proper numbers that our larger employers need, that reduces and shrinks that pool for overall employment possibilities for the smaller businesses. So I know that the town has been supportive of the J-1 and H-2B visa programs, and we'll continue to press forward on that. The third question this morning that our members and others wanted to hear from you on is that on island traffic infrastructure. We know we have a bridge project going on, and some of the secondary roads have been improved and enhanced. So if you would, talk a little bit about that for us this morning, Mayor.
Sure. Let us start with the 278 corridor. 278 corridor, which goes from the bridge to Seapines. If it's not that small stretch of island that everybody talks about. I mean, when the traffic comes across the bridge down through the 278 corridor, it ends up somewhere. And most of the time, it ends up in Seapines along the way. So the issue is an island issue. The traffic this year has been extremely heavy because more people have made this their home during the pandemic. More people have moved here, and instead of renting a villa for a week, have rented it for three months at a time. So the traffic is almost summer traffic. I kid around sometimes about it's summer all the time here, except when it rains. But I mean, we're going to have that heavy traffic for a while. And somewhere along the way, we're going to have to sit down and talk about capacity. Talk about capacity for this island, whether it's permanent homes or whether it's tourism along the way. But if you don't talk about capacity, we'll never have enough roads to get everybody here. I'm glad to see the cars on the roads. I'm glad to see people having a good time. There's more bikes than I've ever seen on the road, on the pathways. It's progress, but we have to control the progress.
Mayor, thank you so much for being with us today. I want to also thank you for properly honoring Scott Liggett. We know how much Scott meant to all of his colleagues at the town. We know how much he meant to us as friends, and then all of the great successes that he was able to achieve with and for Hilton Head Island. So thank you for recognizing him. That's certainly a memory that we don't want to let go of. And also want to congratulate Mark Orlando, your new town manager. I know that the team there is excited to have him in place and moving forward. Big things to come there. And then also, and lastly, thank you to your Hilton Head Island Town Council. We know that many have tuned in this morning, and we would recognize you if we were together. So I simply wanted to recognize you virtually today. That was Mayor John McCann. You'll see his leadership team there with him around the table at Hilton Head Island Town Hall. So Mayor McCann, thank you and the entire team for being with us this morning. Next, we're going to move off island, and we know that she's passionate about her town and its residents. She served as the top Bluffton leader for the past, I think, since 2008. And she's also often called Bluffton's biggest cheerleader. So let's watch right now what Bluffton Mayor Lisa Sulka has to say about the town of Bluffton.
Good morning, everybody. Whether you're in Bluffton, on Hilton Head, in the Hardyville area, I welcome you to our little part of the region. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today just about what was going on over the past year and what you can expect to see in the coming year. Before I get started, I want to tell you where I'm sitting. I'm sitting on my favorite piece of playground equipment, the brainchild of our staff led by Brian McElwee, to put a tree swing in an amazing park overlooking our gym, which is the May River. So we're going to talk a little bit about why I'm sitting here and what this park means to Bluffton in just a bit. But I want to first address something I promised I wouldn't talk about at all in 2021, but that is COVID. Last year was probably the worst year while I have served on this council as a councilwoman and as mayor. Really, all of council feels that way. We had to make decisions. We really had no idea at the beginning what we were making decisions on, but we did the best we could to keep our residents safe and to keep our town at some level of functioning, and to also just continue forward with all of our objectives. So I thank all of you for understanding, even if you were frustrated, but just understanding, you know, it was left up to us to help our residents of our town. So now we're at 2021. We all have decided 2020 was just a blip. But in our town of Bluffton, we did continue with so much that was on our plate, mainly on our capital improvement project list. So I want to talk to you about a few things, and I want to talk to you about some things that are going to be going on this year. So welcome into my world for about 7 minutes. I'm sitting at Wright Family Park. This was one of the drop the mic moments. Totally could have walked away and not done one more thing after we were able to purchase this property. And I'm going to go back a little bit. Everything I talk about today, the key word is partnership. And I think that's what's making Bluffton what it is today, are the number of partnerships that we have made, public-private, all across the board. The Wright Family Park is a piece of property we have been looking at for decades. And it came to us, the owners came to us, and we worked out a partnership with Rural and Critical Lands, the Preservation Program, Beaufort County, and the town of Bluffton. And I'm sitting here today on 2/3 of the park that's completely finished. It's got the view of the river. We have a bulkhead, we have seating, we have trails, beautiful trees and landscape. And behind me, or in front of me, is the cottage that will be in a 2-year program to bring back to what it was. My hope is that it's a public place, and again, a place that everybody can cherish and enjoy. So this is the Wright Family Park. You can come out on any given day. People are walking even now. People are looking at the river. It's one of our 2 parks on the river that give us great attraction and exposure to the May River. Buckwalter Place, that's another area I want to talk about. Buckwalter Place and the Buckwalter area really is seeing a transformation. We've opened our Don Ryan Center for Innovation, which is a 3,000 square foot building that is helping with business buildup. We opened the Veterans Park, and that was, again, partnerships. It was our auxiliary, it was a scout troop, and a lot of volunteers that sold bricks to build that park and to plant the landscape. It's located in the heart of our town and in the heart of our tech park. The Memorial Park is really the place to go if you want to take your kids to the playground, or if you want to just sit there and reflect. Sidewalks and stormwater and sewer. This town is 54 square miles, and we believe in supporting all 54 square miles. While we have a center and a core, we do understand the needs of all of our residents. We are about to finish on all of the sewer installation on Buck Island and Simmonsville Road. Again, a partnership, a CDBG grant that helped us with a multi-year project, and it is soon coming to an end in completion. And we are also putting up sidewalks and lighting. So that's connecting the town throughout the 54 square miles. So very cool project. New Riverside Park is something I want you to think about coming up. New Riverside Park is 40 acres. It's on the western side of town. There's development going on right now. A new Publix is being built on a portion of that circle, and we bought 40 acres. We partnered again with the county. The fire station's going there. My hopes are the library will be going across the street. It's just another village. It's the bigger picture, guys, of what we thought about 25 years ago, and it's coming into fruition today. A series of villages throughout our town. We have Old Town, we have Buckwalter, we now have New Riverside, we have Palmetto Bluff. We had that series of 4 or 5 villages where everyone can have access to and everyone can appreciate our town. Finally, behind me, another partnership. The dock that's been here since the 1800s. We went through years of trying to get approvals and permits and understanding of our neighbors that this dock needed to be upgraded. It connects our town via river. It connects the residents that live in this town, that live in Palmetto Bluff, to come over. It brings over our neighbors in Hilton Head, even Savannah, that they can come and put their boat or go out and look at the river and walk up this beautiful dock and go and take advantage of all the businesses and restaurants we have in this town. We have Bluffton Bike Taxi that parks right here that takes you up on weekends if you don't want to walk the 3 blocks. But it's fabulous. Another partnership, PRT, Beaufort Parks, Recreation and Tourism. Beaufort County, and the town of Bluffton. So I'm going to end it today. That's just a snippet of what's going on. We have many other things we're looking at over the next years: the river, stormwater, historic preservation, business buildup, more parks, taking care of structures that we feel are very important to the history of our town. I urge you to go on our website. I urge you to get involved if you aren't, to see all of the great things that are going on in this town. I'm wearing a heritage shirt. This past month was the Heritage Golf Tournament. We were so glad to see you come back. I'm honored to sit on that board, and they do so much for our town with scholarships and nonprofits. I just can't end it without giving a shout out of thanks and so much appreciation for a very hardworking group of people who have brought golf back into our life. So I love Bluffton. I love sitting here representing my council. If y'all have any questions, we're easy to find. Go visit our town social media and our website at townofbluffton.sc.gov. So come on out to Wright Family Park. The best swing in the county. Stand in line, because I stand in line to swing on this swing. So have a great, great week. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Sulka. It's so good to see you. You're not in your swing, it looks like, this morning.
No, but I do have my two pets that may bark, but that's real. And I'm pulling out my inner Governor Haley, because I want everyone to see across the nation that it's a beautiful day in Bluffton, South Carolina.
Yes, indeed it is. Watching your video reminded me of partnerships and progress, which you touched so well on. And in that, we know that looking at what some of our respondents from the survey had said they wanted to hear you talk about was that of growth management. And you referenced 25 years ago. And I think it'd be interesting for you to just talk a little bit about what that growth management plan is and how it was formed many years ago, and then what you're looking to into the future with that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I do have other coffee cups in this one, but talking about partnerships in progress, I have to shout out Palmetto Bluff and Montage. And I didn't realize I had the same coffee cup when we filmed, but I got to give them a shout out. And they are a partner. Wouldn't it be great if every single developer took on that trait of Palmetto Bluff, with resourceful, using the environment as the key, quality over quantity? But sadly, that isn't the case. And 1999 to 2004, before I even got on council, a lot of our town was legally bound by development agreements. And, you know, this seems to be the issue that every year I've spoken with you, Bill, and I don't know how else to educate or to ask for advice on it. But I do have hope. You know, we do presentations and we show there's total commercial and residential is 40+% build out. And that scares people, because then they get in their car and they get in a line with 10 or 12 other cars ahead of them. The good thing is we're well over 70% in residential build out. So that gives us a light at the end of the tunnel. Having to deal with development agreements that cover 92% of our town. And it's just really hard to break legally binding documents. Now, what are we doing? We have one area that goes retroactive into all development agreements, and that's stormwater. And you're seeing a regional stormwater plan come into place. We're very close, tweaking it to what fits with Bluffton. You're seeing grading plans. All these things that have to do with stormwater is kind of our way to change a little bit, to hold people's feet to the fire. We're working with developers every day to show them that quality should trump everything, because higher property values, higher everything, and a citizen base is very accepting and happy. And that is to the key. Every year we get thousands of new people that don't realize the history of our town. So that was a quick snippet into that. More to come. We're not sitting back, just understanding we have to abide by things. We try daily to make changes. And that is going to staff And I love our staff. They work very hard, and they should be recognized more. So I hope that answered your question.
It did, Mayor. Thank you. And as our previous two speakers have discussed, and it's a topic that our respondents to the survey wanted to hear from you, is that on workforce availability and workforce housing. We know it's a challenge, not only for the region, but for the nation. And just appreciate if you'd share what some of your thoughts are on these challenges.
Happy to. So on this question, I wanted to shout out to Town Council. So not to delay an answer. I work with amazing men and women, and we all sit on this council because we have a passion for our town. You hear the negative comments. No one sits on that council that has an agenda that varies too much off of what is best for our residents. So Dan and Bridget and Larry and Fred I have so much respect for them, and I hope you see that on council meetings. I hope you see that we don't always agree. Just because we respect each other doesn't mean we all are lockstep, and I'm very honored to sit with them. We hit workforce, and I'm going to pull a Fred Hamilton. It is affordable housing, and we just have to get down to what it is. That's what the government says it is. Now, how do we, again, educate our residents that affordable housing is all the way across the board? Yes, there's a need out there for the subsidized type of housing. Yes, there is a need for workforce. And absolutely, there's a need for rental and housing of our young people trying to work here, not in the hospitality field. Maybe they are in a career path and they need housing, and it's getting less and less available. So we went back years ago and did our Wharf Street project, and we had a lot of naysayers, and I dare someone to ride down there today and tell me what went wrong with that. It created 6 homes, and we're doing our little bites of the elephant. But that was a success. So our council, and it's changed through the years, has been purchasing property. And on all of our property, we put the option of possibly doing some kind of affordable housing. So this year, if building costs would ever settle and our contract would get moving forward, we have 82 housing units on 3 of our parcels, I think 3 in Bluffton. But I want to say something, and I hope everyone who's listening can help me. This isn't a council, an elected official kind of mandate. We need the community who understands affordable housing to get on Facebook and have our backs. That it's my daughter, it's anyone listening's friend's child, or perhaps an elderly person that feels like they're getting pushed out of their town. We can't just kick it and say, oh, this needs to be in Ridgeland. The affordable housing needs to be in every part of our towns. And I might have a disagreement with my mayors, and that's okay too. We've got to have a snippet of affordability everywhere. Or I will tell you, wherever that affordable housing is, there will be jobs there in the next 10 years. And my neighbor to the east is going to suffer. We're going to suffer. Wherever the western side that gets all this will benefit. So we have new and amended codes that require 20% of any planned unit development, new or amended, to have workforce or affordable housing. I've been told it can't work, but I've seen where it does. So I urge my fellow mayors, my fellow councils, the region, let's all get in lockstep on this and try to bite this elephant faster than like 1 bite at a time, maybe 5 bites at a time.
Terrific, Mayor. Thank you for that answer. Through the years, we've heard Mayor McCracken, Mayor Johnston, and yourself talk about Bluffton's most beloved environmental asset, and that's the May River. And each of you have always said, protect the river, and protect the river. And talk to us today about how you're going about doing that, and if there have been any changes through the years to the river that you've seen.
Yeah. I have a few memories when I'm not here anymore doing this. One is that I was not even sworn in, and I had a call to meet with some area residents that we were about to get a letter that we're closing 2 or 3 of our points up the headwaters. And I mean, I realized then, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? My kids learn how to swim on that river. I ski on that river. I look at that river. It's the soul of our town. It's the place you go for respite and peace. I don't care where you live, which is why we're opening up as much as we can on the river. And we put together what we called a war plan during our town manager, Mr. Workman's days. And it was a war. It is a fight, and it is a battle. And as you heard with Senator Graham, I mean, you're in that battle for years. If you're in a battle, let's win it. And I kind of thought about this question and his answer on earlier. If you looked at our park in my video in the aerial, you about take away Palmetto Bluff, you see the amount of land we have on the river. It's not a long length. It goes from around Church of the Cross, just a little bit down from the oyster factory. And it's not many hundreds of yards. So again, partnership progress. We have to partner with our region. We have to partner with Hilton Head. We have to partner with Jasper. I'll give you a project we've been working on for years. And the town council just committed to getting a bond. I think it's the GEO bond of about over $6 million to really tackle our projects on that watershed action plan. And one big project isn't even in our town limits, is Stony Creek. And that is at the gateway to where you cut into Palmetto Bluff. It's the more rural areas of our county on this side of the bridge or the river. And we're willing to put up town money to solve a problem that everyone who lives here values. So we have Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer bonding. We have our money. We're waiting on the county, and I know they will meet. They have a series of meetings that go beyond what we do. It's important. That's been going on since I've been mayor, and I guess some people say it's my fault, but it takes years to solve problems. When you're multi-jurisdictional, it apparently takes a decade or more, but it's not something we just put on the shelf. And I urge people, I see it on Facebook, I see it on social media that, this council doesn't know what they're doing. This council works day and night to live here. We live here too. And I don't want anything to go further in degradation on anything. So give us solutions, step up to the plate, get on a committee, just don't badmouth people unless you know the facts. So we're working on it. Give us ideas. We love all the partners we can in that.
Great. I love it, Mayor. That's terrific. This last question I have for you isn't one that came from our survey, but I can't let the moment pass without asking you about your new town manager. To talk a little bit about Steve. So excited. And I hope he's on, because I emailed him today and I said, last minute, this is how you can log on. So I really hope he has the opportunity to either watch this, or if we can make sure he has a recording of it, because he's our future. He is the age. He's got young children. He really impressed me on paper. And council also doesn't lobby each other for votes. And we all had our rankings, and we have a process. And, it is a process that we were fully expecting to release the top 2, not even the top 3. And when we met, no one disagreed with what he can bring to the table. So again, I hope y'all know that. There was nothing, secretive. It's just our process. 100% support. Stephen has a wife that's getting her degree in education. So we all need to help find her a place in the Beaufort County School District. She'll be an asset. He has 2 young boys, which I think is interesting. They're athletes and they're artists. They play soccer and they're in band. So you rarely see those sides of the brain blend. He is ready to get started. I hope our town managers will reach out and welcome him. And he has a lot of similar characteristics with what we're dealing with. Transplants, not transient. We have a lot of new people that never grew up in South Carolina. The city of Easley does too. They have more mountainous areas. We have river. He's willing to learn about that, knows how important it is.
and he's a people person. And I'm just thrilled. Please get to know him. We're going to have plenty of opportunities for people to come in and talk to him and meet him. And he's going to hit the ground running. And we're thrilled. So Stephen Steese came from the city of Easley. Of course, it had no impact on me, but he's a proud graduate of Clemson University. And that's where his wife's going to get her education degree. He has a master's in public administration. And if you're on, Stephen, welcome. And we're welcoming you with open arms. So y'all know our real estate world. If anyone knows anything, he can move in temporarily. The market is crazy. So anybody out there who wants to help us house he and his 2 children for a period of time till he gets on his feet, I welcome that.
Mayor Sulka, thank you so much for being with us. Great update. Congratulations, Stephen. We're looking forward to meeting you and working with you. And I think to our viewers today, it's about partnerships and progresses. We've heard Mayor Sulka and Mayor McCann discuss. So I think we'll keep that theme going in our next speaker today. And again, Mayor Sulka, thank you. But our next speaker today is from another area that's certainly poised for growth, and we're seeing lots of it in the city of Hardeeville and surrounding areas. And let's get an update from Mayor of Hardeeville, Harry Williams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the future of Hardeeville. We're standing across from our brand new recreation center. It's 35,000 square feet, and we hope to open it in early summer. It's going to feature a lot of good activities that we will make into a regional recreation center. And how we're going to do that, we built in a collegiate-sized basketball court, and we hope to have collegiate and high school basketball and volleyball games. It has a world-class fitness center as well as an upstairs walking track. And we hope that will be part of our entire plan for sports tourism, which I'll go into a little bit. And we're in the parking lot of the brand new Royal Live Oaks Academy Charter School that opened in January 2020. And on either side of the school will be, we just approved 275 workforce, moderately priced homes. So this will be a nice little neighborhood. And how are we going to connect them all? I talked about sports tourism. As the crow flies, about a mile away is our Richard Gray Recreation Center. And we're going to build a bike and pedestrian path through the woods back to that center, where we already have USCB baseball and women's softball, as well as John Paul II baseball. We have a artificial turf football field where Tormento Regional Soccer it comes every single night. We just approved a $6 million renovation of that entire park. We've already completed a couple of things. We have a brand new playground, covered basketball courts, and a new dog park. And thank you, Bluffton, for some great ideas as we were putting that together. This whole sports tourism hub will be a centerpiece of what we're doing on White Hardy Boulevard. And White Hardy Boulevard is right around the corner from here, which is Highway 17 between exits 8 and 5 off the interstate. We have a multi-million-dollar, $12 million plan. It'll take a number of years to complete. That'll include bike and pedestrian trails, and as well as streetscaping, changing to the medium. And we hope to attract new industry, new commerce, new kinds of businesses that will support all the sports tourism that we hope to come here and make our White Hardy Boulevard a nice little walkable downtown center. As we renovate this White Hardy Boulevard, we are also, we've just approved a multi-million-dollar plan to renovate our municipal hub, which is just one block off of White Hardy Boulevard at our one light in town. And that will feature, again, new parks, walkable spaces. We'll feature, we hope to put in a new museum. And again, I'm taking another page out of Bluffton and Ridgeland's book, a new Veterans Memorial Park, so that we can have services there at appropriate times. And this will be a nice little hub. Our new fire station is there. Our police station is there. We'll have parks. The historical Argent lumber locomotive is there, and our library. And so that's going to be a whole new renovation that'll tie into White Hardy Boulevard in creating this new future look for Hardyville. In the southern part of our city, that will have a lot of industrial and warehousing growth around the Riverport and the new Exit 3 area. There's a lot of land that's already started. We completed last summer 150,000 square foot building, and the next 300,000 square feet will get a CO this summer. The first tenant is retrofitting that building right now, and it is Home Depot. We'll take 60,000 square feet of that first building, and hopefully a big national chain like that will attract the rest of the customers that we hope will be coming in to support the Savannah Port, which is the third largest port in the United States and the fastest growing one. That's good news for the southern part of Jasper County and for this entire region as new jobs come here. And these new jobs bring up the next thing that's so important in our master plan of transforming our city. Thanks to a grant from EJF of $350,000, we started last summer a workforce training program. Now this program gave for free our young adults 3 certifications: welding, OSHA warehouse safety, and forklift driving. And we also have a program going on for a CDL license, a commercial driver's license type A. So our plan is to create this workforce training facility so that we can help our young adults take the jobs that are coming. It's so important to us that not only to bring jobs here and bring economic prosperity for our citizens, but also to make sure that the young adults and the young family members of our community, our big community, this region, are qualified to take these jobs. And that's why one of my personal dreams, I would love to see a regional training center, one that will continue to give our young adults, the ones who need GEDs, and will bring this workforce training so that our citizens can take these jobs that are coming. And when I say our, I'm talking about the entire region of Southeast South Carolina. And that is so important to our master plan of creating a nice community, of giving nice facilities, and bringing economic prosperity that hasn't been here in such a long time. And it is my personal hope, and I'll end on this note. As people come together and work together, people of all races and everybody here in the Low Country start working together in these new good-paying jobs, perhaps, maybe we'll take a tiny little step towards eliminating racism in South Carolina.
Mayor, thank you for that. It's so good to see you today. And first of all, I've got to ask you, where did you get that turnaround jump shot? That looked good.
That was pretty good. You'll have to see my State of the City address. There's a lot more to it. And I think I did it after only 2 takes. And that was never my sport.
Well, I don't know what your sport was, but that turnaround jump shot looked really good. Well, we're delighted to have you with us today, and congratulations on so many wonderful projects that you have going on in the city of Hardyville. And it's exciting to see. For years, the work has been toward growth, towards development, and then towards prosperity as well. And with that, similar to our other 2 mayors, the question has come up about the number one issue from our survey came back about managing growth. Now that you're starting to get to the place where you want to get to, Talk a little bit about how the city's next step is taking place on managing that growth.
That's a very good question because it's a major concern of mine. We're up to 56 square miles. We're one of the biggest geographical municipalities in the state. And we have to ask ourselves, well, how much is enough? And where do we want to go? So I asked our city council and our management to get together a subcommittee and put forth to the council a policy statement on annexations and future growth, so that we have at least in place some sort of philosophical agreement on where we're going to go. I'll give you a good example that's happened over the last couple of years since I've been mayor. We've had 2 projects come to us that are on the eastern side of 170, which seems to be a natural boundary between Beaufort County and Jasper County. And I was publicly opposed to both projects, and they subsequently went back to Beaufort County. And so that's the kind of thing that we need to have policies in place in advance so that everybody's clear. If they come to the city and they have an annexation request, and before they go through all the trouble and all the staff work and the expense of applying for annexation, they at least know that we have a philosophical policy in place regarding our future growth boundaries. I think it's so important that policy is better than arguments after the fact.
Mayor, thank you. Thank you for that answer. And, you know, I want to congratulate you on the workforce grant that you got. I think that's terrific, and kind of leads me a little bit into our next question, and that is of the Jasper Port. We know the opportunities that lie ahead there, also the Savannah Port. Talk to us about both ports and really what you see as the future of the Jasper Port.
Well, the Jasper Port is a project of Jasper County, and Senator Davis was very instrumental in working for the interest of Jasper County. He should be lauded for that. At this stage, it's up to the Georgia Port Authority to accept the proposal of Jasper County and South Carolina to go into this marriage. So as with any marriage, the first thing comes is, yes, I will marry you. And the second then is to set a date. That has not been done. So as far as southern Jasper County, and particularly the city of Hardeeville, our star, so to speak, is very much attached to the Georgia Port Authority, as I mentioned in my speech. The amount of available land in close proximity to Garden City in Georgia is now under 2%. And what on the converse side, the amount of land available in Hardeeville is 81%. And this is so important to the Georgia Port Authority for their growth plans, because in being able to increase their capacity, they have to get those containers off the port and turned around to off-site warehousing, which is what Home Depot is doing in our first building in that Riverport section. With the proximity of Hardeeville, even all the way up to exit 5, that's the furthest away, and that's 15 miles. An independent trucker can turn around 4 to 6 round trips to Garden City in a day. That does a couple of things. That's good for the independent truckers in the area. And number 2, it turns a lot of product off the ports as they're offloaded, freeing space to bring more ships in, and that increases the total capacity. So regardless of when Jasper Ocean Terminals, it becomes a reality, and it's too early to predict what that date will be. the city of Hardyville, and the region of southeastern South Carolina will benefit from hundreds of new jobs because of the activity of the Georgia Port Authority.
Mayor, thank you. And before our last question for you today, it looks to me, and I could be wrong, but looks to me that you're at looks like the USCB hospitality campus. Am I correct on that?
Yes, you are. I have another event after this, and I was offered this conference room, and I chose this beautiful backdrop. This is a lovely campus, and it's beautiful here. So I'm happy to be on Hilton Head this morning. Yes.
Well, good. I wanted to check that out. So thanks for clarifying that. And then our last question for you today, Mayor, is we've talked a lot about infrastructure and growth and challenges. Talk to us, if you would, about Exit 3, and then some of the other infrastructure projects that are going on in or around the city of Hardyville.
Well, I'll start with Exit 3, and this has been a project that started in 2009. I picked it up in 2016 when I became mayor, but it has occupied quite a bit of my time. Last summer, we finally were approved the funding to start the project. We met a month ago with the bank and with SCDOT to go over the production schedule. Secretary Hall has been so supportive, and the staffs have come up with a schedule, and she made it very clear that that is a priority to maintain that schedule. And if everything goes according to that schedule, you'll see the first cars coming off Exit 3 in January 2025. Now, that's so important because that's approximately 12 miles from Garden City, and that could become the key exit for all that activity in that Riverport section, which encompasses a total of 5,000 acres. And right next to that is the Sherwood tract, which is 1,500 acres, of which 500 is owned through funding from the state by the Southern Carolina Regional Alliance. And they are marketing Sherwood, and we're expecting some good announcements coming up by the end of the summer. So there's a lot of interest in there, and Exit 3 is helping that. Now, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and including water sewer capacities. We need broadband, we need gas lines, and again, I have to give a real good shout out to Senator Davis. He's working on getting us funding through some of the state infrastructure money through the COVID allocations to get infrastructure money, because it's millions of dollars, because that's a key component to developing that whole area with high quality jobs. And that's why it's so important for the entire region, and why I call it out a regional workforce training facility that we should really all think about. And I'm not saying this in competition with TCL, but to complement TCL, and having really quick changing programs that would fit the needs of whatever tenant comes in. Some tenant may need welding we need everywhere, but some tenants may need specialized training. They could go to a regional training center. And if you look at a map of a 50-mile radius around that southern part of Hardyville, that encompasses all the way up to Yemassee, it encompasses Hilton Head Island. And if we can bring in jobs that our workers can get $50,000 jobs, $60,000 jobs, instead of $12, $13, $14 an hour jobs, then we have really given the region an opportunity to raise the economic prosperity for all our residents.
Mayor Williams, thank you again for joining us today. Exciting about the projects and programs that you have going on in the city of Hardeeville. We appreciate your leadership, and also know that several of your council members are tuning in this morning as well, and just wanted to say thank you to them also. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mayor Harry Williams, the mayor of Hardeeville. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Then our final speaker today is the chairman of the Beaufort County Council. That's Chairman Joe Passmont. Let's watch Joe's video and see what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Joe Passmont, chairman of the Beaufort County Council, but you can't recognize who I am because we keep wearing these masks. We've been doing this for several months now. But soon enough, we'll be able not to have them. I also represent District 6, and that's where we are. And you're going to see some backdrops because we're going to talk about some of the things we've been doing for the last year. So over my shoulder is Route 278. That's one of the projects that's going on. That's the gateway to Hilton Head Island, and we're going to be replacing the bridges. Well, we're in the final stages of deciding the exact location of the bridges and how it's going to go. Maybe by June or July, we'll have the SCDOT tell us the preferred alternate and exactly how it's going to be built. So that's one of the things that's going on that's major to us. The second one is the airport expansion. Just the other day, I was out at Hilton Head Island, and we talked about the 6 new destinations that are coming via United Airlines nonstop to the Midwest, along with the 3 major routes that they have. So the airport is expanding. We're going to add on to the terminal. We're going to add on to the baggage area. We're going to put new gates in. It is going to be a marvelous plan that's going to be going on. So that's another major project that's going on. And as you take a look over my shoulder, right by 278, there's acreage there that you don't really see. That's the new Pepper Hall development that's going to be going on. And part of that is the new Okatee Passive Park, which is one of the great things that we're doing in our county, are our passive parks. This year we opened up Widgeon Point, which has been a great park. We're in the process of designing the park, and you'll see a survey on our website that's going to show you what we're going to be doing there. So that's another one of the major things that we're doing. This year, we set about setting our goals for this year through our county retreat. We did it over 3 days, and it was unique this year because we talked about our mission and vision statement, and we pulled out 3 words that make the most sense of what we want to do for the residents of our county. And it is live, work, and play. For those of us who live here, we want to make sure our quality of life is what we want it to be. For those who want to come here, we want to make sure that we do have the ability to have them live in places all around. So there is massive developments going on. Sun City is one of those that is going to be enlarged. Plus there are other developments going on Route 170. So we have to be careful of how we do that. Work. We want to make sure that our economy is growing here. We know that COVID-19 has really put a dent in the ability to have people work. We're coming out of that now, so we think we have a game plan that's going on to allow us to have people work and increase our businesses. And finally, play. And we talked about the passive parks, Widgeon Point and the new Okatee Park. And so those are the kinds of things that we want to do in that area. There are other things that are going on. We talk about education. TCL is in the process of doing their training center. That's going to be a boon to our economy here. USCB is talking about doing a convocation center, which is a multi-purpose building. They're planning on that. They're expanding their sport areas, and they're going to become a D2 school. The last thing I'd like to talk about is green print. When you take a look at the beautiful surroundings we have, this is what we need to preserve. This is the land we have. It is precious. We have our waterways that have to be kept clean. We have the birds. We have the fish. We have the animals. We have the grasses. We have everything that is beautiful about Beaufort County. The Bird Club in Sun City is famous for taking care of the bird count in December each and every year. And they talk about how Beaufort County is one of the places where all the migratory birds tend to come when they're coming from the south and coming back going north. So it's a wonderful time. The Green Print Plan is a plan that you can see on our website. If you go there and just type in the word Green Print, you will be able to see the entire plan. So wonderful things are going on in Beaufort County. There's so many other things going on, and we're going to have questions that you'll pose to us that we'll be happy to answer. So you can contact me anytime at jpassman@bcgov.net or on my cell phone, which is 843-941-3605.
Mr. Chairman, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Off mute. Good morning. I didn't realize I was wearing the same shirt as when I filmed.
Well, you look good on both days, so we're glad to have you with us. And, you know, hearing you talk and hearing the video, it takes us back to partnerships and progress. And it's great to hear those partnerships that the county has formed and some of the progress that the county has been making. Our first question this morning from you comes from our survey. And, you know, we've talked a lot this morning about workforce availability, workforce housing. And as it relates to Beaufort County, the question goes to public transportation. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on how you see that public transportation might play a role in solving, at least partially solving some of these challenges.
That is a perfect question. You know, I was listening to everybody talk today, and we talked about our workforce, and the components of our workforce. Number one is housing. Where can they live? But another one is transportation, because when you're just starting off in your career, oftentimes you may not have the best vehicle available to you or any vehicle, and therefore you have to rely on public transportation to get to work. You know, Palmetto Breeze is one of our real big partners here in the county for public transportation. We need to make sure that we continue to invest in public transportation and expand it wherever we can. So, public transportation is a key element for us going forward.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. And also, we heard Mayor Williams talk a little bit about new businesses, new development, new growth. Our respondents wanted to hear from you this morning on about possible new growth, new businesses, and development in Beaufort County.
Well, we do have two partners. We have the SCA that deals with us on a regional basis, and then we have our Economic Development Corporation here in Beaufort County that is bringing in businesses. And just the other day at our council meeting, we did make approvals for 4 particular businesses that are coming into Beaufort County. So it is a true collaboration among these entities to continue to try and build the business environment here in Beaufort County. As I said, this year we had the 3 key words of live, work, and play. We have people who live here, work here, and play here, but we have a lot more people who want to live, work, and play, and therefore we have to have the businesses that will provide them with the job opportunities so that they can live and work and play here.
Well said. The last question really is that of education, and as communities and counties grow, education plays such an important role. And what do you see as the status of education in Beaufort County?
Well, Listen, I am passionate about education. I spent 46 years in education in every facet, from a classroom teacher, president of the Teachers Union, a school board member, an administrator, a county administrator, a county superintendent. So I've seen it all. Education is the keynote of what we're going to do. When we talk about our workforce needs to have an educational opportunity for them to get the best possible jobs, to conduct their livelihood the way they want it. So, the training centers that Harry talked about, the training centers that are going on in Buckwalter with the Culinary Institute and with the training center for TCL are critical. We have to have trained individuals who will benefit by the opportunities that we have here. So, I couldn't be more proud of what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. Certainly, we have to have quality individuals to teach our children, which means we have to pay them the proper wage. Otherwise, we lose them. They start off here and they find that, gee, I can go 26 miles into Savannah and go into the Savannah school system and earn more money. So we want to keep them here in Beaufort County.
Well said again, and that's so important. And your experience in education is impressive, and I'm sure Dr. Rodriguez and you have enjoyed several conversations.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and Dr. Anderson as well.
Yes. Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you for being with us today. Also, like our other councils, we know that we have your council on today, and we're thankful for that. We're thankful to you for your leadership. And we would just wish you good luck moving forward with Beaufort County.
Well, thank you, Bill. And the people that live, work, and play here know what a great place it is. The people who are watching us and see how beautiful this is, we know why they want to come here. So now our 3 words now are creativity. We need to be creative in the solutions to how we live, work, and play. We need to collaborate on a variety of projects so that we're not bumping into each other, we're not stepping on each other's toes, but we're working together. And then finally, we need to coordinate those things that are going to benefit our region. And so we like what you're doing. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to showcase what we are doing. So thanks you very much.
Thank you. Creativity, collaboration, and what was the third one?
Coordination.
Coordination. We'll take those 3 C's away from today's meeting. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks.
Well, that concludes our State of the Region today. I hope you're like me and you leave today's session feeling optimistic about the region, about the programs and policies that are in place and how our municipalities are moving forward. So many great things to come, but those great things happen because of you, because of the community. And so your involvement is so appreciated, so much needed, and that's how we will continue to move the needle going forward. Just a couple things I'd like to say as we close. First of all, thank you to the over 300 of you who have responded and wanted to be a part of today's session. So thank you for that. Can't let the moment pass again without recognizing our sponsors that you met earlier. Many of them have been with us for many, many years on State of the Region. So again, a shout out to you. And the last piece I want to mention that I can't let go of, because this has been a different year, a different program, but I want to introduce our staff to you that has been a part of this morning's program. First of all, our producer, Kelly Brunson, did a tremendous job on switching and things that it takes to put this forward. Haley Martin as well, Lily Strickland, Kayla Boyder, Charlie Clark, and a whole host of others here at the Chamber that have made this possible this morning. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your membership. Please call on us when we can help, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us for State of the Region.